Introduce ourselves. New people this week, so I'm Tracy Kiefer. I'm a Spokane Tribal citizen. I live on the Spokane Reservation on the west end. So I'm not too far away, but I do come over and say that I think it's hard to drive for 3 hours and then do a training. I'm married and I have 3 adult children and 6 grandchildren plus a couple bonus ones. And a little bit about myself. I have a master's degree in business. I've been with Sister Sky for about 5.5 years now and working on a couple different contracts with them on doing small business things. We started out with a contract with SBA where we traveled across the US to different reservations and did we did 100 trainings. We did 20 years. It was interesting, and we learned a lot about different businesses across the US. And then Commerce, Washington State Commerce is the one that supports this training. We started working with them during COVID because we did outreach to private businesses across the state. So after our SBA contract was done, we took our training materials and the information we got from all the participants across the US and combined them and made them smaller with the most pertinent information. Because what we learned is that small businesses couldn't spend 2 days in like 2 8-hour days. That was our thought schedule. So we designed these to be about 3 hours and then an hour of one-on-one technical assistance. And we designed them to have 25 participants. So I think today we'll probably go a little faster. And enough about me.
I'm Monica Black, and I'm the executive director of the work co-sponsoring the training with Sister Sky. I am a Cobble Tribal member that was on a reservation in the Spokane or the Cobble Tribal life. I have been with the Economic Alliance since 2007, and before that, I was with the Workforce Development Organization. Together with my husband, we have 5 businesses, small businesses. So I always keep my husband call him the serial entrepreneur because he's always looking for another business to start. And I'm like, isn't 5 enough? Can't we be done? And he's like, no, let's look at something else. So if anybody knows these guys know my husband, they know how it is. But you know, this has been something that I've been passionate about is supporting small businesses. So we're excited to bring the native businesses that we here at our organization. Cool.
Right. My name's Mary, and I'm a tonight's fellow member of this tribe. I grew up off the reservation. I was a teenager. Went to boarding school 4 years. Went to the Army. Had grandchildren. I have 4 boys and 2 girls. Lost my youngest. Would be wire. My probably lost count, probably about 12 grandkids now. A lot of boys. And I haven't worked since '99 per se. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I really pursue getting this business started this time. I'm gonna have to do that. I can do it. Nothing's coming between everything. This is Mary's time. So yeah, I'm just really glad to be here. I'm glad to be learning a lot. Things I didn't know. Other than that, when I did work, I did travel the United States, so I don't work wholesale. So I do have a little bit of my foot in the door on that. And I do have a business degree. Other than that, I just stay home talking to the 4 walls.
And now ChatGPT.
Yeah, now I got chit chat with.
To work in Europe. But in one of the questions, I also get into the world of Tula. So I'm planning to start my own business. I offered this to the clinic, but they say it's not like a good business for them, so okay, I can do it on my own. So I've been working with Mason, thank you so much for all the help. In all these courses that he is working on, with the process for the business license. But every time that I have the opportunity like this kind of process, I try to be there because probably I have a lot for learning. It's totally different than Mexico, of course. Some days I feel, oh my God, what am I doing? Maybe I have to make like one step back. But then I say, no, I'm already there. I remember when Mason told me or asked me, are you ready for this? We can do the business license application. Are you sure that you're ready? I said, yes, I'm sure. And I said, I'm not sure. But that is when you mentioned 5 years, and I was like,
I
just
know.
started one business, and I'm so nervous of that.
This is over a 20-year time period, so it wasn't
Yeah.
all at once.
Wow, that's what I was like, wow.
So yes, I have 2 kids, boys, teenagers, 19 and 13. And my husband is a farm worker. He works in the ocean. So that's the reason because we decided to move here and say, well, let's see what else is there for us. So here I'm planning to start my business. Well, actually next month. I already have an office finally. Everything is ready, I think. I already have my business license. I just need to figure out about the social media, promotion, that kind of things. Learning also in that process. Basically, they help me with that.
We've got 2 videos we just uploaded on to our YouTube channel that you can watch. Social media content creation and what was the other one?
Social media strategy.
Social media strategy. Great for sure.
Did you say doula?
Doula, yeah.
Like the vertebrae?
Yes.
Faith Kanaska Keller plus, what's her name up in Canada, with Tim Lazard, Jody. They're both into that big, Jody's Penticton and, there's a few others. I think they got 14 in there with her 5 and she works out of Spokane Network, so they are doing that. She's going up to Canada, I think, before Rebel, so putting on a training up there. It's an engineer. I think that in there, live. Yeah.
She's doing it. And then
That's what I'm talking about.
Jill,
Oh, yeah, Jill does.
she's doing all that.
With Ted. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Local people that you might.
Yes, definitely always is helpful. My plan so far is working a little bit more with the Spanish speakers because we don't have a lot of Spanish speakers in the West. So, but it's not only for that. So far, I've been working with both. Actually, I've been attending 7 fields so far, and there is with English speakers and with Spanish speakers. But I would try to be like more focused in the Bristol area who are more for Spanish speakers. And here, of course, I will be here because I live here now. But yeah, that would be great to connect with others and see what are they doing.
We do a lot of the Native American traditional culture, more so than the Western society. You know.
Yeah. We love nature, definitely, the way that they were doing.
Yeah, so that's cool. I'm glad to see that's really.
Those are good to know in contact. Thank you.
I'm Leonel Montreal, and I work with the Alliance as a business outreach specialist. And what I do is be next to the business to help them with maybe struggles that they have, questions, successes, and be there, make sure that we exist and we're always there for them. And also we help new business to startups and what to do, licensing, budgeting, and any
Menu plan.
business plans. Yeah. So I've been helping a few customers with menus and how to price and things like that. So whenever it's needed, and last year I was helping a lot of agriculture places to see how they get equipment, how they understand I learn a lot because I understand from the ground that we have, how it's different from other grounds and the type of fertilizer that will help them. Never do that, but I learn all that stuff. So that's what I do. In Spanish and a little bit of French, but don't quote me on that.
Anybody here this?
Gotta
go to Canada,
I was gonna say, I go up there, I was thinking about learning that.
I'm Mason Duke, also with the Economic Alliance. I was born and raised here in Okanagan. Spent several years over in Seattle at community college and just recently moved back to the area a couple years ago. So I've been with the Economic Alliance for a little over a year now. But yeah, glad to be here today. Looking forward to learning. And we do have Diana, who's joined us via Zoom as well. Diana, would you like to share a bit about yourself and why you're here, either through chat or through the mic?
Hi, I attended a few of your classes and I'm still trying to catch up. I'm glad you have the videos out. I need to work on my finances. I am in the process of getting my credit built back up again, and just appreciate all that you're offering, Brooke. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana, and let us know if you're having trouble hearing as we launch into the material here.
Okay, it sounds better. Thank you.
Can you hear me? This is
Yes.
Controlling this now? Okay, so we're here today to do navigating cash flow and profitability. So in your bag, there's a USB drive, and it actually has last week's class material on it too. So you'll get the PowerPoint and the activities we did from last week from building your business. And this week's from navigating cash flow. So we'll get started on navigating cash flow and profitability. So the purpose of this is to determine your break-even point and evaluate the factors that influence cash, revenue and expense, credit policies, expenditure planning, and borrowing. We're going to create an estimate of total cash needs for periods of greatest need to operating cash during the year. So first, we're going to talk about the break-even point, and the break-even point is at the point which your total revenue equals your total cost. There's no profit and there's no loss, and it helps business owners determine the minimum sales needed to cover your costs. Why it matters? It prevents underpricing products and services, and it guides financial decisions, pricing, and cost control. It's essential for investors and lenders to know that you know your break-even point. So what break-even point is? Just a formula. So what you need to know are your fixed costs, and so your fixed costs are in your business. It would be like your rent if you had a building, your salaries if you had employees, your insurance costs. All the total fixed costs that don't change with the sale. So your sales costs or variable costs are going to be like your raw materials, your shipping, commissions, and they change with the number of sales you have. So like Mary, like yours,
would be if you sold 20 pairs of gloves, you're gonna have the cost of materials for those 20 pairs of gloves. In your doula, I would imagine your cost for providing the doula services, which would be variable with how you travel, and whatever materials you might need in that. I'm not an expert on doula. I've heard, is it up in, we've had a couple people in our childhood that are pursuing it. But I don't know what's involved in it. I don't know what would be your cost necessarily for that.
The license,
And those costs are gonna be your fixed costs. So no matter how many people you help, your fixed costs are gonna be your business license. Those things aren't gonna change like on a yearly basis or 6 months. So you can use those costs to help you figure out where you. But the costs, so the costs when you provide the services, those costs are your variable costs, so they're your direct costs that are associated with how many people you help or and the service you're charging for.
You might have gloves, you might have like, what do you have to have? As I talk with my hands.
I do too.
All over the place.
I couldn't mind way over there.
You get what I come to work, I just do that.
It's just some materials that I already, I don't have to buy the materials with each client, almost the same. For all the time, for me to use all the time. So it's mainly about the support, the service.
Okay. Your time.
Yeah, so when we were in the calculation for Adriana's, I think we didn't factor anything as variable because it's so much of a service that there's not a lot of materials involved that are directly trackable to each sale. So we factored in everything on the fixed end, basically.
Because actually, previous the bill, I offered the prenatal bill, which is the shower classes. But also, it's mainly about my time, because for that reason I have the office to meet with my clients. And I provide the shopping classes with materials that I can use for all the patients. And like buying something or spending something new with each client, I think is more for my time.
Okay. So then you have your selling price per unit, and that's the what your product or service needs to be sold for to break even, to cover all those costs.
I have a question.
Yep.
Do you guys, oh, not you guys, these guys. I was wondering, is organizing product development or alliance? Yeah. Do you guys have one for how to split it out, then checking IRA.gov, for home-based businesses on the percentages, what's best to use, or on some of these fixed costs? Are not fixed costs, but variable costs?
What
Did that make sense?
what you
What I'm trying to say is what amount to put in that you're able to use your home-based business.
Oh, for
Like
deductions,
cars,
tax
grant.
deductions?
Like
Oh, for your home.
insurance, yeah, home-based business.
so we don't personally do tax.
That would be
Advice,
part of this
but-
bill, isn't it?
but that's that's gonna be your cash flow. But we
That one,
do,
the other one. These fixed costs, and variable costs. It pertains to that, right?
it would pertain to your Schedule C. When you file your income taxes for a business, you do a Schedule C. And I can show you that here. I'll show you.
that, but I thought something.
So there's a percentage that
Right.
IRS can allow you, and based upon the square footage that you allocate for your, like, if you have a home-based office.
Yeah.
Like, so your utilities and your phone and your internet and all those things, there's because you use it for your personal use, only a percentage that you can if you wanted to set up that. There's a max. I mean, it's not like, that's not variable. It's like, this is,
It'd be a fixed cost? then?
Yeah, it'd be your fixed cost.
So that's something you guys can help with?
we can help you determine what the.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
You just need like the square footage and,
okay.
your total square footage and then the square footage that you use for your home. And then you need your cost for your home so that you can take that percentage and apply it.
And it's really tricky. I mean, when you talk to an accountant, I mean, they're gonna say, you do not use that office for sending personal email, right?
and that's-
Because if you do, then they could come back and they could do, they can buy separate.
Yeah,
And actually, we tell you, they can,
Yeah.
they can actually come into your house.
yeah, I have to have a separate computer and business.
Yeah.
It's really tricky. I mean, it's definitely. If you choose to write that up, because when we were doing the small business grants for COVID, that was a big thing that came out with, on what.
The email, I just use one email for every personal and business so far, so that means I have to create my own for the business.
I would agree.
We would suggest that.
Makes it easier to keep track of, if nothing else. Not having to sift through different bins, basically.
And if you create an LLC, you have a specific email for your business, then if you open yourself up, you can so that if somebody ever comes in and they want to sue you, or if anything happens, they can come in and look at every single one of your personal emails, not just the business. So if you want to create that separation, then,
That would be really, just like, we talked about this last week, but, even if you can't open a business checking account, open a separate account for your business. And make sure, especially if you're an LLC, you have to be extra, careful to make sure that you're not mixing your personal and your business. Because if you were sued, a judge may determine that your LLC is not valid, and then you wouldn't have the protection from the LLC.
they call that the corporate sale, where you cross over, and that's like, so we always talk about, like, don't pay, like, don't write a check from your personal email into, to your LLC, or don't pay your personal bills out of your LLC. So you're not crossing over at any time, because once you there's that corporate veil, that whole reason why you got an LLC is now void.
But you could use your personal account to put money into your
Yes,
business,
you can.
right?
Yes,
Yeah.
just make sure you make that clear transfer where you're not, so make sure you make it to that other account, your business account, personal account, and not from your personal account to a bill for your business.
Hey, I got a question, might be going off subject, but it's within this. My beginning balance here, we kind of touched on, but on this, if I haven't set up my LLC yet, or got my business name for this one, but I've been buying various supplies and this that relates to the business, but of course that's cash coming out of my own money right now. Can I use that within these calculations of what I paid out already, or just start get that other bank account, everything in LLC, and then go from there?
So, without getting too far into bookkeeping.
Anything
So if you
Same.
have a bunch of inventory, personal inventory that you've done with your personal, as a sole proprietor business, okay? Because you pretty much operate as a sole proprietor right now, even though you don't have a business. Right, so when you buy that, go get that business license, and you are gonna transfer everything to your business. Like you would do an inventory of it and a value of it, and then that would be part of your startup cost.
Oh,
For
okay.
your new business.
You're investing.
Right, but it's something I could do now.
But it's just, it's, what is gonna help you at the end of the year is what that's what and like I tell everyone, I think the business licenses besides the consumer protections, I think, are mainly to collect taxes. But we have to pay it in some instances. But, okay, any more questions about what might be a fixed cost or variable cost? So I got a question. So when you figured out her break even, did you make her a salary already?
We had her set herself a financial goal, and then we kind of compared the profits from sales projections and pricing against the expenses that have been allocated.
I was just,
And I was visiting, so I think I'm not gonna be able to get all these clients that we were projecting. It's just because I think it's just like the nervous to start this, always there's like something say. I'm gonna be spending spending the time. Finally, I say, well, I need to start doing this is not gonna work. Well, it's fine, it's not gonna work, but I could try. Maybe it's going to work, and then I was hesitating to start.
That comes with business, cause it will work, it won't work, and
Yeah.
yeah, you just gotta keep going, right?
up and down. So another thing is your break-even point is not any profit. Your break-even point is just the amount you need to at least charge this amount for your service or your product to cover your cost. So if you didn't figure a salary for yourself and your fixed cost, you're not paying yourself. So that's another thing. And this goes probably across the board for a lot of entrepreneurs is not figuring out what you need to pay yourself. And you need to pay yourself because you have bills that aren't related to the business. So you need to figure out that.
I always thought that it'd be better for the business, more profit if I didn't pay myself. But that's not.
That's one of the things that makes it all, part of what we do with initial, when people who have ideas, is look at your personal budget up front, because you have to understand what your household budget is and how much you need in order to be able to pay your, what you have to make to break even, including paying yourself. Because those bills that you have on a monthly basis, your rent, a lot of those things that are, you still are gonna accrue those expenses. And a lot of times you're not, you're giving up your full-time job, you're not gonna have that stable income that you might have had before, so you have to understand what that number is. And that's something that it sits down and like really, it's like, let's look at what your budget is and what your monthly expenses and debt.
Yeah, I look at the bus schedule and see how it gets down there and find out where your guys' office is, because I think I need more in person than over the phone or by email to do this, and I think it go a lot faster and further.
And I gave you on your USB drive, I gave you an Excel document that has a bunch of different workbooks in it to help you figure out different things for personal budget. So. Okay, so we are, if you look in your packet, there is this little worksheet here.
I like how you use the coffee shop, because for probably about 5 years, on a weekly basis, we would have somebody come in that wanted to start a coffee shop.
We used to. We started out, we had a and then we thought, okay, for this training, let's do a coffee shop, because we had a lot of coffee shops too. So in this one, we're gonna say our fixed costs for the coffee shop are $5,000 a month. And those include rent, salaries, and utilities. and our variable costs per cup are $2. And we figured that out by our coffee beans, milk, and the cup. And we said we're gonna sell our coffee for $5 a cup. So, and in this example, we don't have any other different prices. Real, you're gonna have a lot of different prices based on syrup and all those good things. So, but for calculating easily, so we're gonna take our 5,000, that's our fixed cost. And then our variable costs are the selling price per cup, which is 5, and the variable cost, which is 2. We're gonna subtract that, and that's gonna give us a net of $3 there. And then we're gonna take that and we're gonna divide that 3 into the 5,000. And we know that we have to sell 1,667 cups of coffee to break even a month. So if we, I guess I didn't go and look on the average cups of coffee that a coffee shop sells. We could probably chat GPT that and find out. But I'm pretty sure that they probably sell a lot more than that.
That's 54 cups a day.
54
cups of coffee.
more than that.
Yeah, but that's how, what that would be, the break even at 54, that's a 31 day month.
I'm gonna ask Chad. I've been playing with chat all the time. It's amazing because it will do you example financial for a business. It can.
Well, I was told that LinkedIn, like 90% of all LinkedIn people are only done by intent. And I'm like, that's why all those people sound so smart.
Yeah. I found that, yeah. It's a tool. I just gotta keep saying in my head, it's a tool. And it's a tool.
Do you use chat GPT? Okay, we need to introduce chat.
Okay, so
It's free and it's a AI tool that help and know.
Is AI and L the same, or is it just, I'm thinking that L in it, or that I in the L?
Probably thinking the I is the L if the font is like in some fonts, the capital I looks like a lowercase L.
Oh, okay.
Is that what's called independent cafe? 200.
How many?
200 or 300. I mean, I imagine our area.
But my daughter did, she's been wanting to do that before that white coffee came out. That's it. Well, you would have been million look at that, using that white coffee.
So that there just gives you what your break even point is and the starting point to see if your business is feasible or if you need to look at your fixed cost, your variable cost, or your selling. It's not, none of it's set in stone, right? I mean, maybe now I decide I don't want to rent that little shop because it costs too much, so I want to find a better product for my brand. So those are the different ways that you can, and so maybe my salaries were over inflated when I figured it out, and maybe I don't want to pay myself that much to start out with. There's all kinds of different ways that you can change this if you, but it gives you a starting point to where you look and make sure that you have all your fixed costs in there and that you have thought about all your variable costs. Like in my example, I don't have syrup in it. I know that every cup of coffee most likely has syrup in it. So my variable costs, I can tell myself right now, are not 100% accurate because there's got to be syrup. And but I do know that too, and my selling price per cup is probably not, maybe it's an average of 5 and not necessarily 5 for everyone.
Mine costs $10.14 for a 7-shot flat. Well, that's if they make it right. I don't. If you tell it doesn't, it probably brings me down. But I don't do that every day. It's regular coffee makes me jittery.
I actually worked with.
I'm going to.
You got.
That's crazy.
This is a big whip.
But this gives you an idea to where to plug in your cost. And then you can figure out at least your break-even point. And then from there, I mean, so in order to make a profit, either my costs have to go down or my price has to go up. So this just tells you where you gotta be the right way. Any questions?
That was my next question, and you answered it before I asked it.
Remember,
After
this
the
is
break
just,
even,
yeah,
how much do I, for me, I do it backwards probably, I call it backwards. Think that I would want to predict how much I want to make per month. And then after I got my break even, I don't know if this is going the right way, maybe. But then I would negotiate my numbers to like, okay, then if I sell for this price, you know, and it's doable, you know, for somebody to pay, then that's what I call. Right way to do it, or best way, but.
Yeah, as long as you're accounting for your expenses too.
Take into consideration that their wages might go up every year.
Depending on paying myself, you mentioned, how do you determine paying myself? Job per hour, but some of these, you know, if I did that, say I did a glove for, I don't know if it's fully beauty, but I'm going off the office and can go up 800, so to say it's 800 for a pair. So if I do 25 an hour, you know, that might not work out even that. So I'm not sure what my hourly rate would be if I would determine it by how long it's going to take me to eat when I can sit in the middle. Or, you know, that's a little bit like that. Yeah. So that's
imagine
that.
with that 7 shots of espresso, it's hard to see.
I don't know. No, assuming, you're assuming. No, it doesn't. Talented people. But yeah, on the break even, I think that's where I was a little wondering.
Well, I
where-
think you could set probably in like a salary for yourself based upon estimated sales. So like if you estimate that you're gonna sell 2 or 3 7 gloves.
I was thinking
a month
2,
or
yeah, a week or
a week
something.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you can estimate what your salary is based upon what you purchase expenses. I mean, if it was me and I'm in a startup, I would probably pay myself what I needed to meet my expenses and not a huge amount. The more that you brew and your demand is increasing, then you get yourself based upon that.
So
And kind of like in your, because
so my question then, sorry.
in your business. So I don't know how many gloves you can make a month. That might be somewhere where you
Yeah, I was
start.
thinking, you want to, maybe 1 a week, depending on how intricate the design is. No, my question is gonna ask you. Oh, okay, on the expenses, for me. If I'm already covering the majority of my personal expenses with my unearned income, then how do I determine what I need? Then would it be just based on my expenses for the business, right? And the percentage of everything?
Is your unearned income getting impacted by you making money?
It is, that's where I'm going right now in my age and between Social Security and trying to stay that limit and writing off the expenses. That's what's been one of my barriers, because I have to
Yeah,
do
you have to
that,
see
but I
your
still
goal.
wanna be able to have like a line of credit or be able to go for a loan somewhere to show something, but I have to meet this criteria for right now. That's really gonna vary if that's not, because I couldn't do the business.
You don't want to lose your.
I don't,
You wanna
yeah.
lose your money.
It's all unearned.
I don't know a lot about some of the programs out there. I do know that there is like, with social security, there are some different resources out there that will help you with social security. I don't know where the benefits are, but there is for disability, there is an amount that is within. And you could, and in your type of business,
I
you
know
can
all that.
control that.
Yeah, I know all that, and I know how that's like, okay, you can, no, I can't work 8 hours a day, maybe 4, and I know all that.
So you could make it work based on kind of going like you said, you would go backwards instead of.
Well, it's finding the individuals to help me do that, and I'm not seeming to find those resources out there that knows this. Or have
So
worked
you-
with a client like that.
So
you know?
you need help finding out what you need while still maintaining the benefits. Community Action has a person who can help you through that process.
Oh, no, I've done the social security
Oh, you
planner
did?
and all that, I know all that, it's
Okay,
getting it wrote up in this, and it's them, it's gonna end up being the decision later on with the STA. It can't, yeah, and it'll be based on my hours and not being able to speak properly, you know how I am? To answer the question, so I don't get cut off.
let's talk about that. We can talk about that.
Okay.
I think this is only for protector.
Okay.
Okay, so did we totally understand the break even?
Yeah, but if possible, could you speak up just a little bit so that Diana can hear you a little better?
Okay, I'm gonna try.
I'll try and move this a little forward here.
Okay,
Uh,
do you have any questions?
Any questions so far, Diana?
I don't know, can you email her the document?
No,
sharing
I'm kind of keeping up, a little bit, but I'll just go ahead and continue to try to hear and watch the replay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so in the book, we have a worksheet here.
Yeah.
And what I want you to do is estimate what your fixed costs are, estimate your variable costs, and come up with your selling price per unit. And it doesn't, you don't have to be exact, just
Do it, we're
take
supposed
some
to do what?
numbers. So you have a break even.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Can we share this with her?
I will after the class.
Okay, okay. Can she see?
Basically, what do you want? Is it all there, correct?
Yeah, it's on the thumb.
You want to just email to her, or can you? I spoke to. Take out.
Tracy? I have a question then on mine, since I'm not sure, can I just guesstimate like somebody home business do 5% of what I do mortgage and all that right now? Almost. Variable?
I'm gonna take that one out.
And the formula here will help you to plug in your number. So when you get it, you plug it in. And we have another one on the spreadsheet on the USB. So some key takeaways was to understand the break even. It helps you make the pricing and cost decision. Just make sure you understand that the break even is not a profit. And that small changes in your costs or pricing can have a big impact on your profitability. So you take that break even, and if there's a certain percentage that you want that your business to make, you would just use that percentage to up your profit. Or maybe you decided you charge too much to be more competitive. So and I just encourage you to do this, and then especially if you're in a new business that doesn't have a lot of industry averages, you might want to come back and look at this every few months to make sure that you're still breaking even or making the profits that you want. So do we need to take a little break, or are you guys good? You want to keep going?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Get up. Walk around a little bit.
Yeah, we better take a little break.
Older ones.
I should have took a little break before the activity to get you moving.
Part of the chair.
Money and out of a business that affecting your cash availability. It has nothing to do what people owe you or what you might owe someone else. Is what is in your bank account available. So expenses, investment, income, your revenues, all contribute to your cash flow. Taxes. So, and your cash flow statement is going to provide data regarding all the cash that comes in the company. And it's usually looked at in a monthly basis from operations, if you have investment sources, and all business cash business that goes out. So all the incoming and all the outgoing is going to give you your net cash flow. So your sales revenue is your business income, is the amount of your gross income produced through the sales of your products or your services. And so a simple way to estimate your revenue is by multiplying the number of sales or average service price times the number of the sales times your average price for your service or your product. That's going to give you a revenue to estimate with. So your business expenses are the operating costs of a business. Whether a given cost qualifies as a business expense is relevant because business expenses are tax deductible while other forms of expenses are not. So, like I said, we don't give tax advice, but you can look those things up. And I'm imagining now that ChatGPT is probably a good source. Or an accountant or bookkeeper to help you with that. So, because I wouldn't want you to be paying for something for your business. And because if you wait to go to an accountant until the end of the year, and you paid for it all that time, and then you can't use it as an expense, would it hurt you personal way, I guess is what I'm saying. So. And there's so many different business expenses out there that it would take someone to help you figure it out $1,000. And there's different calculations, like we said, for figuring out how to write off some of your home And then there's implications to that, because if you own your home and you use it as a business expense, and then you decide to sell your home, then you have to calculate, sometimes you have to calculate the business expenses that you wrote off. So there's all kinds of different calculations, but if you're thinking about doing it, you might want to go talk to an accountant. Okay, so now I'm gonna go, we're gonna actually get right into the cash flow, because I think it's easier to work with apply things than I'm just a hands-on person, and this is your cash flow statement inside of your pocket. It looks like this. And I just did a 6-month one, and we're gonna, and then the scenario here. And I'm gonna see. Here's the activity. Now I'm gonna see if I can go back and forth. Okay, so our coffee shop is Brew Haven. I'm pretty sure we got that from ChatGPT. And we're gonna ensure that we have a positive cash flow for the next month. So our fixed costs, remember they were $5,000, and our average cost of coffee is $2, the variable cost, and remember we charge $5. So we are just going to, we're just gonna sell 2,500 cups of coffee a month. That's our expected sales. But we're gonna have some additional sales per month, and that's gonna be pastries and merchandise, etc. And it's gonna amount to about $3,000 a month. We have a loan repayment of $1,200 a month, and supplier payments of $2,500 a month. And then we have miscellaneous expense for $800. And we're gonna start out with $2,000. So on this spreadsheet, you should have $2,000 in your startup here. In the beginning cash, okay? So based on our, I better wait for Mary.
No, I'm listening, go ahead.
Okay, but we're gonna start actually plugging numbers into a sheet.
Sorry.
No, you're
I
fine.
see
I
you
just
with
want
the
you to-
clock.
I don't want you to. Just take one of those. And, how did I get that to work last time? Wonder if I have to go in my settings every time. Okay, this is the actual spreadsheet that I gave you. It's on the USB drive. It's called the cash flow statement. It has all kinds of different worksheets for you. We're gonna actually go to the cash flow one so that I can show you with the numbers from the scenario. This is for you to use to do the scenario. And we're gonna start with $2,000. This is the easiest way I can show you this. And my spreadsheet has a calculation in there. That's why it's updating. Your spreadsheet is not going to have that, and I really don't want you to carry this on, because this is your beginning cash for each month. Each one of these columns is a month. So it starts with 2,000 beginning cash. And then we're gonna go and we're gonna figure out how much our cash sales are for each month. So in the first column, we need to calculate 2,500 cups of coffee times the $5. So we're gonna multiply that. And that's our monthly sales for coffee. So we have $12,500 of sales. So that amount, we're gonna put in the cash sales, that's the second row here, under beginning, or right under beginning cash. And we're gonna carry that amount all across to our 6 months. Because because we wanna figure our cash flow for 6 months. And again, my cash flow, this has formulas in it, so it's figuring it out. So I'm gonna so remember we have the additional sales in addition to our coffee, and those are $3,000 a month. And I'm gonna put that in the loan or other cash. We don't have any accounts receivable. And when I talk about accounts receivable on the cash flow statement, this accounts receivable is not what people owe us. It's only what I collected for the month. So if someone owed me $500 and they paid me $200, the 200 would go in the cash flow, not the total amount they owe. So I'm gonna put that $3,000 a month into the loan or other cash. And I'm gonna use that, I'm gonna carry that across for the 6 months. Okay, so that's our cells up on top there. Now we're gonna go back down to down here. And we're not gonna do any totaling yet. We're just gonna put the numbers in, and then we're gonna go down to the operating expenses, okay? So we have supplier payment of 2,500, and our expenses categories are purchases, inventory. Our suppliers payments are our inventory. So we're gonna put that 2,500 in there, and you guys can stop me anytime. No, it's supplier payments. So what I mean by supplier payment is to replenish our inventory for sale.
Did we carry that across then?
Yeah, that's gonna go, we're gonna carry that across. And then we have our miscellaneous expense. The 800, we're gonna carry that across. And we have a loan, and you're gonna notice the loan is down below the expenses. There's our loan payment right under subtotal, we're gonna put that 1,200. Okay, so what you don't see yet is, remember, we have those fixed costs. We've got to put the fixed cost into the cash flow sheet. And that was, we have them totaled. So I'm just I'm going to break it down as the following. I'm going to say that our rent is 25 or 2,000. Our salaries is 2,500, and our utilities is 500, just to make it easy. So I'm
And
gonna put,
utilities 500.
so I'm gonna put a payroll expense of 2,500 on. And this payroll expense for this, it includes payroll taxes and everything. We're not gonna get that detailed cash flow statement. And then our rent is 2,000. Yeah. And remember, you have the spreadsheet on that USB drive.
Right.
So, and you can use, if you don't have Excel, there is a free Excel online, I think that you can use.
On what?
I can't remember how to get to it.
Well, there's Google Sheets, you can access through Google. It's like Excel, just has a few less features.
Okay. Okay, so now we have all of those in there. So, and like I said, my spreadsheet will calculate it for me, and yours isn't. So we're gonna go up and we're gonna look up at that first month. And remember, we started with $2,000. So that's our beginning cash for the first month. We're gonna add the 12,500 in sales and the 3,000. And it, so our total cash available throughout the month is 12,000, or 17,500. That includes the 2,000 and our sale for the month. So that's gonna be 17,500. Then we're gonna go down and total up our expenses for each month. And our expenses are 8,675. I'm helping them out.
8,000. You do that in the subtotal or the total cash figure?
That's, so if you look under operating expenses and you go down to the subtotal, it's gonna be 8,675.
And the one that you did before went under the total cash receipts and the total cash available?
Total cash available. The total cash receipts is 15,500. For the expenses? Yes. 8,675.
Oh, let's see where the cash sales and loan, that's how you get the 55.
That's, so, and remember up there on top, that one that is in the loan or other cash, it's other cash for, the pastries and stuff that we sell. We sell $3,000 of other non-coffee items. So then under the loan payment, we have the 1,200. And so our total cash paid out for the month is 9,875. That includes the loan payment and all the operating expenses. So that is how much cash comes in, how much cash we started in the bank, and at the end of the month, we paid everything. That's what we got left. So that $7,625 at the end of this first month is going to carry forward to the next month's beginning cash. So we're going to move that up to beginning cash for the second month. And we're going to do the same thing for each one of those months. Because right now, nothing, nothing's going to change for right now. And I can keep these numbers up there. Or I can go and show you something. So we have a really good, cash position with this business because each month we're not spending more than we're making. So, you know, we're actually collecting cash. But in my business model for this coffee shop, I didn't pay myself. Those are paying other people to run the shop. So I want to figure out when I can start paying myself, and I want to figure out how much I'm gonna pay myself. So as you see, because my payroll expense was just like other employees. So now I'm gonna go along this bottom through these worksheets, and I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna figure out.
Are you on this next second column or the third now?
Oh, okay, go back to the.
I can't see that part of which one you're doing.
Okay, so I did. So if you carry those out each time. And you look down at the bottom here. Your cash position, each month we've increased our cash.
Right.
So the business is
Oh,
probably.
you did it all. Okay.
I did it all.
Okay. It's like, I'm sorry, I thought we were all one alike.
Yeah, we
Okay,
can go.
where am I putting that in your new salary? Okay, that's all.
We can do this. So
Gotcha.
you can do this if you want to do it for each month. Or we can run from somewhere.
I like your, how much to pay yourself.
Okay.
I don't know.
So I kind of thought that would be something that. Here to talk about. So on that workbook that I gave you, we actually got this from SBDC. I'm trying to get over to. See along the bottom there, those are all different worksheets that do different things for you. And hopefully, I'm always adding sheets. But you put numbers in here and you can look at it. So, but there is a personal budget that you can use to figure out how much to pay yourself. So there's two, if there's two owners or one spouse or however. So these are a tool for you to figure out what you would need to pay yourself. So I'm going to say that for easy things, I'm going to say my house payment is 1,000. My car payment is 300. I don't have any credit cards. My insurance is 150. My utilities are 200. My groceries are 300. These are for month, each month. My cell phone is 100. And I don't have property taxes, life insurance. So in order for my business to pay me what I need to live, and I can put in it, so say I want to go out to dinner, spend $100 a month, I can figure that out, right? Or your entertainment, whatever you want to do, you can figure out some extra cash if you know what you're going to be able to do. And this amount is going to show you how much you need to make if you're just going to run your business, if you don't have any other job. Or you can put in up on top here, You can put in the amount of your, say I work part-time at another job, so I make that.
So here's Mary overthinking again.
That's what we like.
I did this, I would do this, that's what I was kidding. Okay, for me then, I'm looking at it then. Well, it doesn't make sense to you, but it clicked in my brain. Doing my business plan, so I'm going off a tangent as usual, but we're using this here. How? And then I lose the train of thought because then the train wants to go on another track and oh, it's so frustrating. How would I determine? Oh no. What is the? Oh wait, no, that's not it either. Don't get there. I guess I'm scared of. I'll say I'm scared. I don't use that word scared because I don't know what word to use. I don't like. Sure how, see, I get stuck on how to communicate. I was noticing in my business plan that it requires this type of budget or whatever, and then it wanted the personal one too, and that's I'm like, why do I gotta let anybody know how much money I'm personally? If that is something,
Well, we should really put that in business 101, right? Because it doesn't matter what kind of business formation you have, whether it's an LLC, even a corporation. Your personal financial statement is what they're gonna want.
and it's personal information, but so do you have to document all that, or you just tell them some numbers? No, I'm not saying I'm cheap, but I'm
No.
just like, I'm not comfortable, that's confidential, but I guess you have to do it.
So it depends on what the purpose of the business is. If the purpose of the business plan is to get funding from a financial institution and they require the personal financial information, then if your business plan is for investors and stuff, unless they ask, I guess what I'm saying is I wouldn't put that personal information in the business plan unless it was asked.
Because there's so many people that's gonna look at it, programs, apartments, and all
Yeah.
out there.
So
So like Terrell, besides NNDF, I know I need that plan there. Give them a small one if I want, just to build credit, is what I'm trying to do business wise. Because of what happened. So I've been doing that for years now. Now I'm looking to go to Terrell because they said, yeah, so say I want to get hides, I'll just say, I'm gonna buy hides. Or another sewing machine or something, something like that that costs some funds, I need 3,000 or 5,000. They said that I could, as a business, if I gave them a business plan, then they'd be willing to look at it. So I wouldn't have to include, unless they asked me to submit a regular business plan without the personal budget. Right?
Yeah. Is that what you?
Give me like 5 hours to
Yeah.
even understand that. What I'm saying.
Yeah, I'd say, you can have all the personal stuff prepared, but then just have it separate so that you can throw it in there if you need it for a certain meeting or distribution, but otherwise have a copy that doesn't have it in there.
So on my personal side, because usually I spend down, I do this where everything's accounted for, so it zeroes out. So what I gotta do is establish, put this money that I spend down to zero out on everything. Then I just gotta set aside a different, I'm doing different savings goals or account. So I show I have the money, I just gotta throw it instead of leaving it in the bank. I'm not one that really likes doing it, but I have to. I need to pay cash for things.
Well,
So
To
now
do a personal financial statement, you don't necessarily have to have it in the bank. So see here, so here's the example personal financial statement, okay? So cash on hand and or deposit, that could be cash in your personal, in your purse. And added it with your bank account. You don't have to, yeah. You would just list it on your personal financial statement. And in this spreadsheet that I give you, there is a personal financial statement that you can go through and figure out what your personal financial statement.
So how do you verify that with anybody
You don't-
then? You don't have to verify it with them?
If they request that you bring in,
Oh, you can.
I don't know.
Okay, I didn't know the answer, it's just,
So,
scenarios I know I'll end up being in the situation. I tend to be like a guinea pig in everything that everybody's never encountered. I'm serious. I'm like, I'm the only one in this whole world.
there is, I mean, there is something that I share. I don't go into the personal financial statement very big in this class, but when you're preparing your personal financial statement, some assets that a lot of Native Americans don't classify as assets, even though we are regalia and cultural things, those things have a value. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to put them up for collateral or that you're going to sell them for anything. But they are an asset and they do have value. So you can put those personal property items on your financial statement.
Does that include the real estate?
No, so see.
Oh, no, we're personal budget, never mind.
This is the personal one.
Yeah.
If I own land, if I own real estate, I'm gonna put a value there. If I have regalia or cultural items that have a value, I'm gonna put on there. I can tell you so. And as Native Americans, we don't usually do this because
Right.
we don't want to, we would
don't
never
put
sell
value.
it. We would never sell it.
Mm.
But there is a value, and if you don't know the value, you can usually find a different artist or someone that makes those things that can give you value. And if you've ever had to get a value for it based on a financial institution, there are ways you can do that. So I'll give you an example. I have a house full of George Flat original paintings.
Lucky, I keep trying to get one from
And
Rick King up there, I knew him. And I'm like,
I always say that's my retirement, is my George Flat painting. And I don't know if you ever went to the Welcome at Powwow, but every year he would have,
wow.
he would, when he was alive, he would have an auction there of his art. And I used to have a food stand. One year I was like, I'm doing this no more, and I sold all my equipment for, I think it was $2,000 or $3,000. And I took all of that money and I went to George's auction and bought as many paintings as I could, and they're all original. And so I always say when I retire, I'm going to go to Santa Fe and sell them. But those are an asset that I have that I can put on my personal financial statement. If I had to get a value, I'd have to go find someone to value them for me, but they're an asset. So my regalia is an asset.
Okay, we're probably going off tangent, but since you said it, now I'm gonna go to the western side. I got a coin from my dad who passed, and it's like a 1776 13 stars, 1 penny. Is that something I can include?
Yeah, if it has a value, it's an asset.
I'm just trying to think of having more assets to put down.
So, but there's a personal financial document on that USB
Okay.
drive that you can look at. So now we figured out that, I have a part-time job. And I'm gonna keep that part-time job, even though I'm working full-time in the, coffee shop now. And so I need. I'm gonna subtract my job. I need at least $700 a month to pay for my bill. So I'm gonna go back to my cash flow. And because based on my projections, I can pay my. I need at least, oh, we already have. Oh, it automatically did it for me. It went over there and it put it in there for me. 7.
Now, would you inflate that just to have a little leeway? Or it all depends on each individual?
Would I inflate it?
A little bit, you know,
You might, if you want to, yeah.
Say, hey, I'll give myself 1,000. Now, if I get that money and I'm paying myself, can I turn right back around and invest it in all my equity, or is that allowable?
It's,
Because I could do anything I paid myself, so I can use it to end up being my personal money now from the business, but I could turn around and buy things, sell, but put it back in the business. Even though it said I paid myself, I was turning right back around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought so, but I figured I'd
just
ask.
make sure you write that check to the business account.
Right, okay.
Okay, so when you do that personal statement in this spreadsheet, it's gonna automatically put the number in there for you. So even though I calculated back there, remember I calculated that I only needed 700, it put my full budget in. So I'm going to start taking 2,100 a month out of the, as an owner's withdrawal. Because I didn't set up an S corp. And so I wanna look and make sure that I still have cash. See, I put the owner's withdrawal here. And that dropped my cash down to 5,525.
Would you take that money? This is not salary. Right?
This is not salary. This is so. There's different ways that you can pay yourself through this. Okay? One is the owner's withdrawal. And then in order for you to pay yourself, if you're an LLC or, I don't know if you can do that as a sole proprietor. You probably can become an S corp as a sole proprietor, but I don't know. In order for you to pay yourself like a wage, like a paycheck, like you get from a job, you have to get a class of, you have to apply to the IRS. So that, and then you're gonna pay payroll taxes on your paycheck that you get. Either that or it's gonna be called a owner's withdrawal. And then at the end of the year, you'll do, what will happen is you'll put your income and your expenses on the Schedule C. Net profit will be taxed for self-employment tax. You're gonna pay all of that stuff. So that's something, there's a formula out there, and I want to say, did we determine it's like 65,000?
The tax brackets?
Yeah. So when you're making about $65,000 a year or more, you're gonna want to probably go and get the S corp election, so you can do employee where you do payroll taxes, because if not, tax wise, you're gonna be paying more taxes. You want to.
So let me get this straight. On you're talking full time, so when I get it set up for an LLC, I am doing a payroll as a paycheck?
Only if you elect, only if you make that election. the Internal Revenue Service.
As an LLC.
As a, to pay your. Cause you're the owner of an LLC, to pay yourself a wage in your company, you have to make an election to the IRS to be able to do that.
Oh. Well, I just thought you said we had, that's what we're doing here. On this budget.
So on this
Pay
example,
ourselves.
we're doing an owner's withdrawal because we're.
Oh, okay, so fire, okay, that's what.
And this is,
Mixed up.
so, and the cash flow, remember the cash flow right now, it's a projection.
Yeah.
So, if I did my cash flow projections and it looks like that I'm gonna be able to pay myself a pretty good wage, then I might want to think about doing that schedule F election.
Right.
At this point, because I'm only gonna cover my expenses, I'm gonna make about $25,000 a year.
So if I'm just paying myself without the, or paying myself as an LLC, I end up having to pay payroll, take out payroll taxes and all that regardless.
If you get the
Elections.
election, yeah, then you would do payroll.
But otherwise you don't, as an LLC?
You can do owner's withdrawal.
Oh, I thought you said I could only do it on the developers as well, fire. But you can do it. with
No, yeah,
LLC.
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
No, the only way you can pay yourself and hold payroll taxes is if you do that schedule one. Okay, so I am, if I look at my projections, remember, I haven't changed anything except for I added the owner's withdrawal down here. And I'm still, if you look up here, my beginning cash every month, I'm still positive. So based on these projections, my sales and my expenses are gonna keep me with a good cash flow position.
Now, do we want to?
This doesn't mean I'm making a profit. It doesn't mean nothing. It appears that I'm making a profit because I still have cash, but it has nothing to do with profit or loss.
No, my question was gonna be, is there a certain percentage per industry we should be shooting for?
There's industry standards out there for
There's
some, yeah, that you could look up and then you can see if your projections are within reason.
Yeah, maybe adjusted for the region that you're in, kind of looking at where you are, the demographics involved.
We still the highest employment county or we?
I don't know.
That change.
I think Ferry is higher.
I'm on this other.
But these are the estimates that you help you to make a really good decision on how much you can pay yourself, and then you can pay yourself and make sure that you got all your expenses in here. And this is just cash. This has nothing to do with if I have clients that I'm billing and not getting paid for. If I billed a client last month and I got their payment this month, I would put it in, but it's only on how much cash you have in the bank. So a lot of businesses, this is where they struggle, is the cash flow. And I'll give you an example of where a type of business, your type of business, because of the billing, this would be a very good tool for you to use. to figure out how much cash you need to keep operating when you're waiting 2 or 3 months for the state to pay you. And sometimes that can happen. And with contract businesses like any kind of contractor, right? They usually don't get paid at the beginning of the job. They don't get paid until they're done with the job. So they have a 3-month job that they're not going to get paid for by the state or federal government, who the job is done in 3 months, but payment might not occur for another 3 months. This is a really good tool to help you figure out that. So in this example, let's say that let's say that my cash sales are, half of them are on credit. If I only make $6,000 a month, look how fast the next month I'm out of that account.
Can you say it? I can't see it. I can't read
Okay,
that.
so I said in the first month that I'm only gonna have $6,000 in cash sales. In the first month, I'm gonna go broke.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna lose $780. So, I'll get it back the next month based on my billing. But this tells me that I'm gonna have to figure out, I'm either gonna have to not pay something, or I'm gonna have to get a loan to cover those costs until I get paid for it. So that's why if you're in an industry, especially with any contracting with the state or the federal government, they are notoriously slow on making payments. So these cash flow statements will allow you to make sure you have enough cash to get you through the operation. Because most businesses don't fail because of profit or loss, they fail because of cash flow, because you run out of money, you run out of cash to operate the business. So that's why we suggest that you spend a lot of time on your cash flow. And Tina, she's the one who do the curriculum for the classes, but her motto was,
I could think of her name, that's good.
the bank will loan you money the first time you're in trouble, but the second time we're not gonna. And if you go in there ahead of time before you actually need the money, you're more likely to get it than waiting until you're $780 in full. I don't know why, it seems a stupid concept, but that's how it is. So if you have projections that show that you're gonna need this much cash, and you go in and ask the bank ahead of time, or your funder or whoever, and as long as they can see where it's gonna catch up, you'll be more apt to get it than to wait until you're in dire need of it. So you have to shut down if you don't get it.
I don't know if this falls in with what we're talking, but to me it does. I got a quick explaining like that. So if you were to get a loan like that, is it better for your business credit to pay off those loans? Say you've got to pay 150 a month. Is it better to pay off more or stay on that loan payment schedule for amortization and all that? Or it depends on all kinds of variables, wherever your projections are.
But we're part of a build credit pilot program with the state. And from what I have learned from the credit union is that an account for credit, for building credit, you need to pay for at least a year on it. So if you had a loan, making those 12 monthly payments, even if you were able to pay it off, is recommended, because then that helps build the credit. I don't know,
What do you mean by what you just said, you guys are doing loans, is that what you mean?
No, we did a pilot.
Oh, you did a pilot. Gotcha.
And that's what the credit, and that's what the credit union said.
Oh.
It would take a year to help increase like that. I don't know how much it increases. I do know personally, if you pay, it totally blows me away, right? If you pay off your car early, your credit score goes down.
Right.
I don't know, it's like, I finally quit looking at credit score.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Do you want to be debt free or do you want a good credit score?
Yeah, I kind of gave up on it now, I'm like.
Yeah, so, but I don't know why that is. I think that, building business credit is a total different monster than, your personal credit. So, but I think you need your personal credit to initially build your business credit. I think unless you're really big, it's gonna be hard for you to get traditional loans.
Right.
But some banks may have micro programs for those where you can get those, but most of your business credit is gonna be built with wholesalers and things like that you get.
See, that's something me, I don't really want to get into. Well, I most likely couldn't buy it. Cause I asked one guy, I needed so many, and they wanted like $10,000 ahead before they even do the high. I'm like, I ain't giving you no $10,000 and I haven't even got no product yet. I just wasn't willing to do that. But you know, at some point I might, I don't know what I would charge. I'm trying not to charge anything. I mean, I'm sure what other people, actually, I don't know. If that's
And it doesn't
safe
matter, I mean,
or not, or maybe would my accounts receivable be if they said they wanted to go, if they couldn't do it, would I consider, okay, give me at least half down for now, and then I'll start and get all my supplies.
well, yeah, you could require.
And that would be,
That would be $500 in your account, by the way.
right. Yeah, and so how about a line of credit then? That's similar to like a loan, but it's there just for whoopsies, not whoopsies, but it's there as a little nest egg. Later on, it'd be good to do the business, get that there.
If you need it,
I mean, for
Yeah.
troubled time. Just,
or a credit card,
yeah.
and there's different ways, I mean, there's different ways you can get credit cards too. I mean, you can
Oh,
actually save up and do a prepaid credit card. So there's a lot of different.
Prepaid credit cards, I know there's debit, I didn't know there was prepaid credit.
You can get prepaid credit cards.
Well, I came to this. I didn't know all this stuff, because I just don't want to do, I got one credit card, personal, I try not to use. And I'm like, well, it's there, that will be an extra backup in case, if you don't want to go over on a credit card like that. But that's one that I'm thinking of other avenues to have.
And I do think that, credit unions, I don't know if the traditional banks do it, but I do think like if you had, built a business savings account for a certain amount of money in it, that you might be able to get a line of credit on that savings account too.
I gotta go in and check with them, I got a bank here, plus, a credit union too, so I think I'm okay, not knowing I was going this way, but kind of.
But that might be another way to, build business credit is a credit line. Credit union, something. A savings match. I know that's what we did for that pilot project. So,
All right, I'm going on subject.
no, that's fine. Do you got any questions? And you're gonna find out really fast, if you keep that, business checking account and you're loyal to it, you're gonna find out real fast. If you don't do this, you're gonna find out real fast what your cash flow is. So, but if you make these projections, at least then you're gonna have a heads up and, maybe I shouldn't spend that much on inventory every month. Or maybe I'm gonna have to not hire as many people or something. But again, this will give you a starting point where you can look at it and decide if you need to go borrow money, find some different ways to fund your business.
Again, I don't need to, but I want to because it. Since I probably don't have the pieces, I'm thinking it's a better idea, that way it builds the credit or something for me. It's not all in my head, I figured it out, yeah, I don't really need to do all or something, I just kinda wanna open those doors for the availability later on that I have it and keep it in the bank. And have them buy that.
But you could go in here and you can figure out those things.
Yeah, and I could chat away when I get home now, look at this flasher.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you, but Chad will do it for you too.
I hesitated when I was doing that, and it was saying, hey, and put this, because it was saying, don't give them any personal information. So I'm like, nope, ain't gonna do that, I ain't gonna give them no numbers, so I'm like, no, I ain't gonna do, we'll do that for you, I'm like, no, that's not, I have no idea where this info's going, or you're seeing it. So.
And then after so this did a pro forma and did a example balance sheet in here based on the numbers that we put in the cash flow. So there's automatic, in this thumb drive that I gave you, there's automatic numbers that have been put into other documents. It did a profit and loss based on the numbers I put in the cash flow. You've got extra sheets in there, just delete them. I'm always click on the add. Okay, so we went through the cash flow. I went totally through a bunch. We didn't actually do the decrease by 10%. Did some other things without it in bonus redraw. So we are done. So the break even and cash flow projections empowered entrepreneurs, small business owners with practical tools and strategies to project your cash flows and determine your break even. You got any questions?
Oh, okay.